Hello, everybody, and welcome to not another episode of Info That Matters, because this one we are abbreviating to 30 minutes. It's going to be hard and fast, great information that can help you guys out in understanding what is going on right now. I have with me some subject matter experts, and I'm not sure how everybody's showing up in your corners, but I've got Greg up in the top left. So, Greg, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Greg Bell with the Small Business Development Center.
Perfect. I've got, wait, no, it's that way. Cathy, or no, Tara's right behind me, or below. But Cathy,
Hi, I'm Cathy White with Your Taxes Matter.
very nice. And Tara,
I'm Tara with Serendipity Payroll.
very nice. So we're gonna be real quick with this one. Try to get you in and out nice and fast. 10 minutes for each of us. We're gonna be talking about different things, and at the end, our very own Cathy White is gonna help explain some of the tax ramifications that we understand so far with the PPP loan. Everything is kind of a moving target this year. It has been fun for everyone, I know. So this is the constant updates that we give to try to keep everybody on top of this as things change. But you will get a copy of the slides after this, like you always do. You'll get contact information for whoever you want to get a hold of, and know that your CSM is available if you have any questions for them, if that's me or if that's Cathy or if that's Chris. So talk to you guys about that soon. Greg, take it away.
Thank you, Conrad. Well, as far as updates on PPP, the number one thing you want to do is stay in contact with your lender. Your lender is your go-between with the SBA to your PPP loan. They're the ones that funded you. They're the ones that are going to be submitting your application for forgiveness, and they will be the one that recommends, after the review of your application, they're the ones that recommend that you receive forgiveness for your PPP. Now, it has been very difficult to calculate and fill out your application. Your lender is there to help you as well. Many of the large lenders and some of the small ones as well have set up specific PPP websites for not only the application completion, but for a help link to ask questions and get direction in some of those. What we have found talking to our clients at the SBDC is to keep it simple. To think of the calculations as they apply, they become a little bit overwhelming, but if you can put in your application with the numbers that you used for your payroll from your payroll company, your lender will have the opportunity to review your application. This isn't a one and done and you failed. The lender wants to have you forgiven, so they're going to review your application for the completeness, for the correct calculations, and let you know that this is not what you need to do. You put this in the wrong box, or this is the wrong subject matter. You came up with a negative, and that's impossible. You need to have this done or that done. So talking to your lender is one of the best solutions to your forgiveness. Now, submit your application with your lender. When you get forgiveness is a whole different story. We don't know when things might change or if they change. We don't, that blanket forgiveness is still out there. It's still a conversation out amongst the clouds. People are talking about it. I don't know if that's going to come around, but I suggest that you get your application in with your lender so that you've done your due diligence and you've completed what you needed to complete. Really, that's what we have, Conrad. It's really not anything more on the horizon. We're expecting more loans to become available. We're also expecting them to become available through your state rather than through the SBA or the federal government. We see the money going to the states for disbursement to different grants as the state chooses. So keep an eye out for that.
Okay, and at this point, I'm basically hearing you say there's no reason not to apply, because I know that we've heard that from our clients, and we'll point them to you, we'll point them to Tara, and we'll say, hey, this isn't my subject that I'm the expert at, but I am the, Cathy can agree with this too. We've been fielding all those calls this year.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we're experts at unemployment and all the other things that are going on. And say, hey, I get it. They all kind of seem like the same thing. They're not.
No.
But absolutely. What we've been kind of talking with Greg, and we've been trying to meet with him on a pretty regular basis as this all goes, is we're hearing from clients right now. Well, if I apply now, does that cause a problem at all?
No.
No.
You should get your application in. You should get what do I want to say? Registered with your lender. Get your due diligence in. Get it figured out, and
Be on their radar.
Yeah, if things changed in the past. Let's face it. This PPP changed 3 times in its existence, from 8 weeks to 28 weeks, from percentages, everything else that went differently. So you need to get your numbers in. You need to get with your payroll company. You need to get your payroll information gathered and get it collected and get it recorded and get it submitted, and then wait and see what happens. Waiting and seeing and doing nothing right now could just put you behind the stampede, could get you outside of a due date that we don't know about. So yeah, getting your information in and getting it in place is what you do now. And your lender will tell you, we'll take your application and we'll queue it, or we'll take your application and we'll send it in, or we'll review it, but they should communicate with you and you should get feedback from them, whether it's from the website or it's from one of their help desk people that can help you with it. But yeah, you should get it in.
Okay.
It's time.
And I think I might actually have some questions here. Hold on. I can figure out how to do this. I'm a millennial. I should know how to do this. There we go.
Can
Okay.
you read the questions?
You guys all look awesome. That's nice. That was really
That's
sweet.
nice.
Thank you for that. But yeah, I think
that's what I'm happy about.
there we go. Greg's snowy hair is blending with the background. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe I shouldn't share all these. Okay. I don't see any questions. I don't see any questions yet. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you for the compliments, everybody that's watching right now. We will try to field questions as they go. I didn't say that earlier. So if anything pops in your head, or there's something that's specific that you want to get answered by these guys right now, there's an opportunity for that.
Yes.
If not, we will be able to get to those questions later as well. But so that's basically the update on PPP as of right now.
Yeah.
From Greg. Okay. So we're still kind of in a holding pattern, which is terrifying. That's kind of like all of us. I don't know how many times I've told clients this year, well, what we think is going to happen, which I feel so silly saying, but that's where we're at right now. Unfortunately, only time will tell.
Yeah.
But right now the action is go ahead and apply, go ahead and get that process started, be on your lender's radar before it's too late. And all of a sudden we missed a deadline that we found out about a week after the deadline.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if that happens. It's 2020.
Yeah, there's no reason to procrastinate. And I've used that, we don't know what's going to happen, and we think this is going to be it. So that, I probably should have preferred my whole speech about that with that, because you don't know, but so far that's what we're seeing that works. People that get this stuff in and get it done, that's what you need to do.
It depends, as Cathy likes to say.
It depends.
It depends. There you go.
All that stuff. Absolutely.
All right. And Tara, as our payroll superstar, what do we need to be paying attention to?
Okay, so a lot of questions that we get is, I went to try to do my application. I don't know which application to do. There's 3 versions, 3508, 3508EZ, and 3508S. If your loan is $50,000 or less, go straight to the 3508S. If full-time equivalent employees do not matter, nothing really matters. There's very little calculation on that loan application. And essentially all you need to do that application is have your payroll provider provide you the summarized, write this down, summarized payroll register for the dates of your covered period. Now, some people say, well, what's my covered period?
Yes.
The day you got your money, you have 2 options. The day you got your money, if you're semi-monthly or monthly or less frequent, count out 24 weeks. If you're biweekly or weekly, take a look at the day you got your money, start the period after that, and go out 24 weeks. That's called the alternative period, covered period. So when you're doing your application, it will ask you, do you want to use the covered period or the alternative covered period? If you're biweekly or weekly, you want to use alternative covered period. If you're semi-monthly, that means like twice a month, not every other Friday, or monthly, you're going to use the covered period. The other thing to pay attention to is you can't start, if you're monthly and you got your loan on May 12th, and your period started May 1st and your check date was May 30th, you can't use that one because you started on the 12th. You got to start the period that started after the day you got your money. Okay, so those are kind of some of the basics that you need to know to tell your payroll company to give you the report, the correct report. They should, if you tell them I need money, I need my reports for my PPP, I got my money on this day, that at that point they should be able to take it from there and get you exactly what you need. You'll also need your 941, DE9 and DE9C for those quarters that was covered. Like most people are getting Q2 and Q3 because you kind of crossed over in the 24 weeks. And nobody has Q4 yet. So those are the payroll items you need to do the 3508S. For 3508Es, oh yeah, Cathy?
Sorry, I have a question.
That's perfect.
I was under the impression that we could do accrued wages or paid wages. So when you say, if I got my money on May 12th, even though I paid myself on May 30th, wouldn't some of those wages have accrued between May 12th and May 30th?
The actual law states accrued and paid, which really doesn't make sense in the payroll world because generally they're not going to be, generally there's a time lag afterwards.
Yes.
But that's why they came up with the alternative period. But that did not help monthly or semi-monthly clients. But luckily, because it went from 8 weeks to 24 weeks, I haven't found anyone that hasn't been able to spend the money in that time. So we are lucky at that, but it is written that way. So that is a very, very good question. Another thing to point out when you ask for those records from your payroll provider, tell them to give you two, one with the owner's payroll in it and one with just the employees. The reason I'm saying that is so you don't have to do any calculations yourself, and you want to spoon feed it to your bank, so it's easy to forget. So what I usually do for our clients is I give you owners summarized payroll register, and then I give you the employees. And the reason is that owners cannot in the 24-week period get forgiven for more than $20,833. So if you got this loan and you're the owner and you paid yourself $50,000 thinking that's going to do it, they're going to cap you at that $20,833, or what's the words for it? You take last year's salary, divide it by 52, multiply it times 24. That dollar amount is your max. It's whichever one. So if your last year's was lower than 20,000 on average for the 24-week period was less than 20,833, you're going to get capped at that number, whatever that number was. So that's why it's important to get those payroll numbers separate in those payroll registers, because a lot of people may not even have to use the owners. They may have enough in their employees and they don't even have to worry about trying to prove everything else. Another thing is that if your payroll records equal enough to cover 100% of the loan, that saves you from having to get the rental agreements, the cleared utilities, and all of that work. So the easiest data you can provide is your payroll data. And then whatever, if you didn't spend enough in payroll, then you can go and pull the excess things that you need. Now, if you, let's say your loan was $75,000, now you cannot do the 3508S. You need to go to the 3508EZ. Now that form actually, and I'll actually read you the requirements. There's a couple of requirements. One's kind of convoluted. One is easy. If you're self-employed and have no employees and your loan's more than 50,000, you can use that, the 350EZ, 3508EZ. The second stipulation is have employees but did not reduce the wages by 25%, did not reduce your employee numbers, and did not cut anyone's hours. You just continued on as you were with no cuts. You're eligible for the easy form. Or you have employees and did not reduce wages by more than 25%, and you could not operate. So you shut down, but you still paid your employees. We have a lot of people that did do that in the beginning before they realized how long it was going to go. So you can use those wages during that time, and then your that does count for you. If you did have to, now there are some people that just they had to lay off half their staff, and unfortunately, you know, they weren't able to work at the capacity. Some people took pay cuts and salaries just to kind of keep the business going. And in those cases, you're going to need to use the 3508 if you're over $50,000. So pay attention to which form you need to use. Get your payroll records from your payroll provider prior to going online to do the application. So you're ready, because you upload it right there at the end of the application. You're going to upload that. And you'll also then at that point, you know, if you have enough wages to not have to worry about the other receipts. If you're using us for payroll and you're on this call, if you haven't already, reach out to us. We'll put those pay reports together for you. I've even been sitting on Zoom calls with clients and helping them when they're on their application. We can't do it for you because you're certifying different things, but I can watch you do it and I can lead you through it. So we're definitely here to help with that.
Perfect. I did have a question come in, and I think you answered it. But what is the difference between the 8-week period and the 24-week period? If I use the 24-week period, I go way over the loan amount, while using the 8-week period, I am just under my loan amount.
You do not have any penalty for using the 24-week period. A lot of people in the beginning thought the forgiveness would be coming quicker and they wanted to get it off their books. But if your 24-week period is up, you can use it. Now, here's the one reason someone may not. So let's say your loan 24 weeks is not over until December 30th. You've already spent, you know, a good amount of money, and you know by December 30th you will have spent it all. You would want to wait till after the 24 weeks, especially if you're using owner wages, because you only get the proration for anyone over 100K or the owner wages up to the number of weeks that you apply through. So if you apply at the 19th week, you can't use 24 weeks. Okay, so that would be, you know, one reason why you would want to wait till that 24 weeks is up if you need that. But if you're less than the money in 8 weeks and you want the full forgiveness, then just go the 24 weeks or do it at 12 weeks, and then they're only using 12 weeks.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we let the tax queen get at it?
I just want to say that you can, after listening to Tara, get on it, get it started, get it filed.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll just say one thing. I did ours myself because I wanted to have the experience of doing it. I did do the 3508S. It took me less than 10 minutes, and I've already gotten my letter of forgiveness. So get on. I mean, and I did it. I probably did it, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. Maybe
Perfect.
5 weeks ago, so not that long ago. So if you're the first person getting them in, you're going to get it done quicker
That's quick. Yeah.
than the people at the end.
Yeah.
True. That is so true.
Okay. Well then, Cathy, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so we can do our very fancy PowerPoint here.
Ooh.
Do we see it? Let me see if I can.
Yes.
Okay.
I love the technician here. He's very skilled.
I got it. I got this. Please. Okay. Cathy, take it away. How does this work with taxes?
So, congratulations to those who actually did receive some nice government money via the Paycheck Protection Program. It was quite nice if you did receive some money. So now you have the money. Everybody's talking about now, how do I get it forgiven? So let's walk through. Is this taxable? Do we get to deduct it? What's going to happen? Do we see or foresee any kind of problem? So let's go to the next slide and see what we're talking about.
Oh, after all that. Okay, good. I can do it.
So it's nice to know that the Paycheck Protection Program was a loan, and loans are never taxable. So loans, the PPP loan, just like all the other loans, they've been sitting there over there on your balance sheet, on your financials. It's a current liability, and it is not on your profit and loss. Makes sense? It's a loan, right? Let's go to the next slide. So what happens when I have a loan that's forgiven? Let's say I went to the store and I racked up a whole bunch of credit card debt. That's technically a loan and I don't pay it. Or I have a mortgage loan and I don't pay that. What happens? Well, if the credit card company decides to forgive it, now I have a cancellation of debt, and the credit card company or the loan company may file a Form 1099-C at the end of the year that I need to now address on my tax return. So that's what happens. That's our standard tax treatment. If you have borrowed something and you don't pay it back, now it becomes taxable income. Now let's go to the next slide now that everybody's heart has stopped beating, because actually the PPP loan is rather unique. It was initiated by Congress to help with all of our small businesses that were really struggling to stay open. So the intent of Congress was that this PPP money would not be taxable. So the IRS has issued guidance specific for PPP loans and for the forgiveness that those loans will not be taxable, even if you do qualify for forgiveness. And I think I could say 95%, maybe even 100% of my clients have all used their PPP money properly, and they're asking for forgiveness, and they would certainly qualify. So let's go to the next slide. So my loan is not taxable, but wait a minute, what else is going on with the PPP money? Conrad, what's the next slide say? So what has happened as recently as last month, Revenue Ruling 2020-27, the IRS is saying, well, if you have a loan and you have used those loans with expenses and deductible expenses, but the loan has been forgiven, then you do not get to deduct those qualifying expenses. So what does that mean? Now my expenses have gone up, but my income didn't go up. So what's happening? So what is happening is if you expect forgiveness of the loan, and let's say it's you borrowed, they gave you $75,000, and you used it all on payroll, and Tara has helped you with all of those summary reports, and everything's been submitted to the bank, and you expect forgiveness. There's no reason not to. I had $75,000 worth of payroll, and you get your letter, and the bank says, yep, we anticipate that you will be forgiven the $75,000. Well, what happens is now on your profit and loss statement, you no longer have those $75,000 worth of payroll expenses that you can deduct. So if we go on to the next slide, we will see what that happens is the famous phantom income. We kind of always use that phrase when somebody has a profitable corporation, and even though they may not have received any cash in their pocket, they actually have some sort of taxable income on their tax return. Same result here. So now I have $75,000 worth of expenses that are not deductible, and those non-deductible expenses are now creating profit that you didn't necessarily see coming. So we call that our phantom income. So what's on the next slide, Conrad? So we know that Congress is still talking because what Congress is saying is that was not their intent when they came in with the CARES Act, when the PPP loan was initiated. The intent was that we would be giving money to businesses to stay open and that it would not create a taxable event. As it stands right now, the IRS says this is how the law states. If the law needs to be changed, then Congress needs to step in and change it. And so I know there is still, as soon as yesterday, there was still some discussion on the Hill regarding there may be some more changes. So stand by, things could still change, but right now that's what's happening. So the other side of this is for people in California. Thankfully, Governor Newsom did finally sign in October AB 1577, and California does conform to the Federal PPP loan forgiveness. So you see my husband's in the background, and so
Hey,
he's
Peter.
just getting some paperwork. So anyway, California does conform to federal legislation. They are saying that the PPP loan will be forgiven in California, and they will be handling the deductions just like the IRS is, and that's as of what's happening today. So what's on the next slide? So the other thing that the SBA has done is if you had an existing SBA loan, they came in and made 6 months of SBA payments on a loan that you had, some businesses. So what's happening is this is not necessarily a gift. That 6 months of principal will be added back in as income to you. It's other income, but you will still be able to deduct the interest portion of those payments that were made. So you will have some additional income for the corporation based on the principal payments that the SBA made on your behalf. So what's the next slide here? So the PPP money, the SBA loan payments, all of this was excess income to the company. You know, even if you are taxed on it, it's not 100%. So if you did receive $100,000 worth of PPP money and you do have to pay a little bit of extra tax, the company is still ahead. So even though you will maybe pay a little bit more in tax for the 2020 calendar year, financially the company did have some money, and congratulations. And we hope that your company is doing better because of it. And from what I understand from Greg, there's more money still to be had. So if you're still struggling, maybe Greg could kind of answer that question as far as, you know, how can they get some more money from the government?
Well, the EIDL loan, the economic injury disaster loan, was extended until December 31st. So if you have not applied, you cannot expand your EIDL loan or apply for more money. But if you have not applied for your economic injury disaster loan through the SBA, you still have the opportunity to do that. And that website is covid19relief.sba.gov, G-O-V. The loan amounts have changed as the budget has gotten smaller, but they are still there trying to offer you a 30-year fixed low interest rate loan to help you through with your expenses for what they're trying to calculate is 12 months worth of your expenses. And there is a 12-month deferral for payment start on that loan. So it's really something you should look into. If you haven't done that already, please take a look.
Yeah, those are really good loans. And I think the Congress is talking about having possibly even more PPP money. So stand by, right?
Stand by.
I was going to say that was a great segue, because one of the questions we had here was, how do I get Greg's help? So Greg, how can we get a hold of you?
You can email me at Greg, greg.bell, B-E-L-L, at SBDC, excuse me, back up, at OCIESBDC.com. So that is Orange County Inland Empire Small Business Development Center.com.
And since that's a mouthful, we will also provide that for everybody who's been registered. So that will be provided with what we'll be giving everybody after the show. And then final question I had is, Tara, are you taking new clients?
Oh, absolutely. We just hired another employee. We got to keep her busy.
There we go. Okay. And same with you, Tara. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Tara at serendipitypayroll.com, or you can call me at 949-216-7777.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I think we used these 30 minutes or this 30 minutes beautifully. We got some questions answered best we could. We aren't going anywhere. Everybody's stuck at home anyways.
That's right.
So we're all available. So if you didn't get your question answered, or you know this now spins around in your head for a couple days and something comes up, you will be getting all the contact information. You already have our contact information as well. We are here to help. We're all going through this together. So yeah, let's pay attention, because that's normally when you get in trouble, is when you fall asleep and think everything's fine and nothing's going to change. Change is coming. 2020 has been a year of change, and it's not done yet. Don't assume that in the next 3 weeks it's over. There'll be many more changes to come. And 2021, it's not like all this just disappears. So always be paying attention, and lean on your subject matter experts, as I did today. So thank you, team. Way to go.
You're
And
Thank
with
you.
that, do a bye. Okay, see you guys around.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.